Wealth building potential calculator in the living balance sheet. For purposes of this video, I'm going to assume we've got just average clients that are 40 years old. So I'm going to use a 25-year time frame in this. Age 40, 25 years will get us to 65. That's what everybody's thinking about retirement. And again, for easy math in this, I'm going to assume that we have household income. Could be one person, could be husband and wife, but just for easy math here, I'm going to assume we have household income of $100,000 a year. At this point, I already have this loaded for the clients, or talk through it like we're doing now, and then I will ask them to talk to me about what they think an annual increase in their income will be for the next 25 years. Most of the time clients won't have much idea about that, so I'll say, well, what do you think inflation is going to be or has been? If you say it's going to be, that's a different conversation, but we think it has been. Somehow you're going to get them narrowed in, and somebody eventually is going to say 3%, and that's fine. That's a pretty good number to use, so we'll use that. I'll say, okay, so for the next 25 years, we're going to assume that your current $100,000 a year income is going to increase by 3% every year. Now, you are very fortunate in that you have a really rich and benevolent uncle, and he says, I'm going to pay all of your bills for the rest of your life. You don't have to do anything with your money except investment. And you've met me, and you're going to give me your $100,000 a year plus 3% increases every year to invest. What kind of rate of return do you expect to get, or would you expect to get on that $100,000? Clients will usually not have much of an answer, but we'll talk about it, what rates have been, and they'll talk about markets and stuff, and they'll come up with some number. For purposes of this demonstration, let's just say they say 8%. 40 years old, maybe they want to be a little bit aggressive, and that's what they're thinking. So I'll put all this in, I'll say, okay, we're making $100,000 a year now, and we're going to keep working for 25 more years. We're going to increase that by 3%, and we're going to invest every dollar of that at 8%. Well, what does that give us as we are building wealth? And I'll click on the graph, recalculate. It gives us this nice increasing graph that I will point to them and say, okay, that's what it looks like. And it's interesting to see their eyes when they see this, and especially when I scroll over to the very last bar and I highlight that, and you will see the living balance sheet will bring up, you're making $100,000 a year. If we get regular increases on that and invest that at 8% every year, the rest of your working career, you're going to generate $10 million into your world. That's a big number. They've never seen anything like that. They've never quantified it like that. I use this also as a way to say, you see what an asset your ability to work is. So we need to, as we talk about protection like we've talked about before, we're going to talk about protecting that $10 million asset. But for purposes of this conversation, we're still just concentrating on building wealth. Okay? So we've got the potential to build $10 million of wealth and coming into your world. But that's not really reality. We don't have that uncle. So we do have some things that we have to pay tax, that we have to use our money for. And from the data that we've seen, I've put together that you guys are in a combined federal and state tax bracket of about 20%, about 25% between the two combined. That's not bad. That's not bad, but this is one of the places that your money's going to have to go. The other place is you got some debt. Now, you got your mortgage, and that's not necessarily bad debt. You got a car payment. We've talked about the debt things, what's good debt and bad debt, and how that needs to be controlled when we talk about balance. Remember, we talked about balance at the very beginning on our asset side and our liability side. We've got to keep our liabilities in check and make sure that we don't carry much debt going forward. You guys have got about 20% of all your money going to debt. Now, the interesting thing about this little calculator is I can't plug anything into that last box. all four of these are going to add up to be 100%. So we've got 45% taken care of now. From the data that y'all have provided me, you remember how much you were putting into your 401k plans? They'll usually say, yeah, I think it was 6%, something like that. And I'll say, you know, remember we talked about we don't have a systematic method of savings anywhere else in the world. Pretty much the only place that you're popping money away for retirement and trying to build wealth is into your 401k plan. So if you're putting 401k into annual savings now and it's 6%, then that means we've got 49% going to lifestyle. So this is what your world looks like currently. Let's see what that does to our wealth over time. Wow. That makes quite a difference. If you look at these numbers out here, if we highlight each individual box, you'll see they total up to that same $10 million number. But in the current structure of the allocations of our money and what we're doing with it, instead of $10 million when you go to retire in 25 years, you're sitting at $616,000. And that's not really going to be enough money to sustain the longevity in retirement that we've talked about, probably 30 years at least. So we need to make some changes. We need to get rid of some of the red, or we need to make some more of the green. Well, the first way, what would be your first thought of how we could increase the green? How could we get more wealth built out here? And at this point, clients really, again, they might not have much of an answer, but somebody's going to say, well, let's just get more return on our money. Okay. All right, we can do that. Let's go in here and let's assume, because you guys are aggressive and you're pretty smart, let's say we can go 12% is the most my little chart here will let me do. So if we go 12%, that gives us, instead of $600,000, almost double, $1.1 million at retirement. But we got a lot more red too. What we did was we increased our overall cash in our world to 17 million or something like that. But we didn't put that much more of it in our world. We kept it going to taxes and to debt and to lifestyle. Now, early on in the process, I told you we're not going to take any money. Our goal is to take no money out of your current lifestyle. But we want to restructure how this works. So in the work that we'll do, we're going to look at ways to reduce this tax liability. Because, like I told you in the first meeting, how much do I want you saving? I want you saving 15 to 20% of your gross income. Not your net, your gross income. So what if we were able to restructure some things and take your taxes down to, say, 22%? Let's just do that. What would that do for us? That gets us up to 9 for savings. And our number out there grows a little bit too. So we're at 1.6 million. I'm going to really stay on you about your debt. We're going to clean that up. We're not going to go down this path carrying a lot of debt. So what if we take that debt down now? We'll do some things with your cash flow and with your assets. And what if we take that down to, say, 15%? Then we've now built $2.5 million of wealth. Okay? See how just restructuring some things, haven't touched your lifestyle yet. Haven't touched lifestyle yet and how much more cash we've got. Okay? But we're doing budgeting work. We're going to look at cash flow closely. So we're probably going to be able to take that down. And let's just say we only do it by 1%. That gets us our 15. That's our 15% of savings, or 15% of our cash flow going to savings. And now we're at 2.7, almost $2.8 million of net worth that's built. There's still one thing about this that I don't like. And it's that number right there. We're still at 12% assumed growth. Well, that's a lot of risk. So what if we go back to our 8% that you guys picked originally, it gave us 600,000. It gave us 600,000 of wealth built at 8%. So we've lowered our risk, and we've got almost $1 million more than we had at the time. So all we've done is restructured cash flow and restructured some assets so that we're paying less in taxes. We've got less going for debt. Haven't really taken anything out of lifestyle. You guys will begin to feel the security and the freedom in being structured like this. You'll take more out of lifestyle. So we're at 15% now, gets us at 1.5 million. Just for easy math, I'm going to take that down to 43%, gets us to 20. That got us another $500,000 of wealth accumulated. When we look at this and we talk about so much of this has gone for lifestyle, it's down in this red area. That's our lake home, that's our jet skis, that's our trips that we take, and that's all good stuff. We want to be able to do that when we get out to retirement, but we got to have the cash. We got to have some green bars, the cash, to be able to enjoy these things. And the last thing I tell my clients is, you saw we didn't see much difference. What if we changed that? If we changed that from 8 to 12, we didn't see that much difference in our growth. But we saw a tremendous difference when we went from 15% to 20. So the one thing I always say to my clients when I'm working in this calculator is, it's not the rate of return that we need to be concentrated on, it's the rate of savings. I haven't talked to them yet about where we're going to save this. I know in the back of my mind where we are, but I haven't talked to them about it. Because there's going to be a number of places. We've talked about the 401k plan, and that's fine. But we know there are other places in our asset column that we'll go to do the savings. So that's generally how I talk to my clients about the importance of increasing their savings to 15 to 20% of their gross income.